We did connect many years ago when you were the director of the artist formerly known as Samadhi Yoga. Before it did morph into Jivamukti Yoga Sydney, which was the first Jivamukti Yoga Centre in Australia. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey when you grew up in England and what ultimately led you to come to Australia and start a yoga studio? Because you were very young when you did this.
Yeah. I don't know if I believe in past lives. I'm sort of on the fence with that one. But what I can say is that as a young girl, I had a very strong calling towards yoga and particularly towards the teachings of Eastern mysticism, if you like, Buddhism, Hinduism, yoga, which was really quite incongruous with my upbringing. I wasn't brought up in a religious household. My parents weren't interested in yoga or those types of teachings in any way. And I sought out pretty much the only yoga class that was happening anywhere even close to where I live, which was in the village hall, but actually run by an incredible healer, an elderly shamanic mystic from the Bahamas, and started going to those classes. And then I, at the age of 16, just had this burning ambition to go to India. I mean, when other people had pictures of pop stars on their walls, I had a big picture of the Taj Mahal. Again, I really don't know where it came from. I look back now and think it was quite weird, really, but that's who I was. And I went to India for the first time when I turned 17 with some friends, a couple of whom were older than me and kind of acted like my chaperone. And did some meditation, did lots of yoga. That was kind of my deep immersion into yoga world, I guess you could say.
How long were you there for?
Well, that's a good question. I was there for a few weeks and I was meant to come back and go back to school, and that didn't happen. So I ended up staying for a number more weeks and missing a large chunk of school during exam period, which is why I now have gone back and I'm doing a degree, because I never went to university as a result of that journey beginning at that time.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually had a place at Cambridge University to read English literature. I'd been given a scholarship and I'd spent the summer at Eton, the boys' school where Prince Harry and William went.
Wow.
They have an open program every summer for kids from state schools, from what we call in Australia public schools. Kids with no money, basically. And not that I grew up in poverty, I didn't, but I certainly didn't grow up in the same kind of calibre as Prince Harry and Prince William. And so if you were particularly passionate about your subject or particularly capable, you could apply. And one of my teachers at school, my English literature teacher, because I loved to write, encouraged me to apply, and I got in. And then when I was doing that scholarship, I met a professor, a Cambridge University literature professor, and she offered me a place on her undergrad course at Cambridge. And so it was funny because I loved the work, I loved English literature, I loved particularly the romantic poets, which is what I was really interested in studying and what I had done at Eton. But I never could quite bring myself to be a sausage in a sausage machine. You know, even Cambridge, which is
so prestigious
institution. Yeah, exactly. You're part of a system. You're part of a very actually kind of fixed and patriarchal and antiquated system, and it's very hard to break out of that. So
true, but it's I think a lot harder. I mean, I honestly think it's a lot harder to say no to it.
To say no, yeah. You know, my will. We talk about the solar plexus and we talk about will. I had a will of iron. I mean, I don't know where that came from. That's karmic.
Well, for those that don't know, Katie, she is a double Aries.
yeah. And that's mellowed now. I've worked a lot on mellowing that just so that I can be a functional member of society and a parent and a partner. But at age 16, 17, it was indestructible. I mean, if I decided I wanted to do something, I was doing it. Like, there's